Hey, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Chats with Toby, where today we're going to go through the step-by-step process on how it is that we can take a goal, an ultimate goal that you're chasing that seems crazy far-fetched, break it all down and actually implement a strategy in which you need to do to follow and actually achieve your goal. It also enables you to be able to assess each and every part of the process and really kind of delve deep into the areas that you've done well and maybe not so well, so that if ever you need to do the same process or try and achieve a similar goal again, you know exactly how to go about doing it. So today we're going to go through a fair bit of screen sharing. So there's going to be a fair bit of time where I'm pulling you away and you don't get to see my ugly face anymore, and you'll be able to see exactly what's going on in my screen. So that way that you can kind of follow it in at home. So if you're reading this or listening to this and you want to follow along and there's a goal that you're really wanting to achieve and you want to break down a step-by-step process on how to do it, now's the time. Pause this video, go away, quickly grab a piece of paper and pen, and together we'll step it out so that you can achieve your goals. All right, let's get stuck in. Alrighty, so the first step we have to do is essentially write down what our ultimate goal is. So I'm going to basically draw along on my iPad here, but you can obviously join me on an iPad or on your notepad or anything like that. So the first step, so number one, is to write down your ultimate goal. So for the course of this, let's just say our ultimate goal was to lose weight. I know it's super cliche, but I couldn't think of anything else right now. All right, so the next step we have to do is make it measurable. So I'm not going to go through the whole SMART goal kind of situation, but one thing that's really important is that we be measurable and specific with any goal that we create. All right, so in this case, we're losing weight, and I want to be really specific, and I say I want to lose 5 kilograms of weight in 6 weeks. All right, so that sounds great. It sounds really cool. It sounds like something that I would love to do, but it's kind of missing the oomph. It's missing the key driving factor that really sets it apart, the difference between goals that we tend to achieve and goals that we don't achieve. So what's really important is whenever we're writing a goal down or going through a goal, we need to make sure that it is important to us and we have some sort of emotional connection to this. And obviously we've spoken about this in other videos or video chats with myself, but in this case, let's make sure that we write down an emotional goal. So the emotional goal is I want to fit into a suit for my best mate's wedding that I've already bought. And further to that, I'm going to be seeing a whole bunch of mates I haven't seen in ages. Right, okay, cool. So now I have a little bit more of an understanding. I'm starting to develop a little bit more of an emotional connection to this. But if you're anything like me, you know, it's pretty easy to let yourself down. So, you know, you might have, you know, an emotional attachment to your goal, but, you know, it's pretty easy to convince yourself that, you know, it's okay. And I don't really care too much. It's not that important to me. You know, 3 kilos is enough or whatever. So the other component that I believe is incredibly important to getting shit done or creating a goal worthwhile is how is it emotional to others. So if I wasn't to achieve this goal particularly, it's going to upset other people. So my best mate, who I'm part of his wedding party for, would be upset as he's already organized everything. Already organized the suit. Now, I hope you guys are kind of writing yours down as I'm writing mine. That's the whole purpose of us doing this longhand. Otherwise, I could just show you the example I've got below here. But anyway, so emotional connection to other people. So now I'm starting to develop almost a little bit of a need now, right? So I've got an ultimate goal that I want to achieve. It's specific, it's measurable, which means that I can go ahead and in 6 weeks' time check if I actually achieve this goal. It's emotional to me because if I can't fit into my suit, I'm not going to look great. It's going to cause not only some financial distress of me having to buy one, but it's also going to upset my mate who's already organized all this kind of stuff, and he's got enough to worry about as it's his wedding. So now it kind of we kind of step this out a little bit more, and we start to talk about how it feels to have achieved this goal. So I'm going to say, I'm going to change to my red pen here. It feels amazing. I feel comfortable. Sexy, whatever you kind of want to say, right? And be real with yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the only one that's going to kind of see this. The next step is to go through and go, all right, well, that's great. So I like to feel all those kind of things. But as we know, people are really oftentimes driven from negative thoughts, right? So I like to kind of add in this step-by-step planning process is, what if I don't achieve it? How's it going to feel if I don't achieve it? And this kind of really helps to drive us. It pushes on those pain points and allows us to kind of really build that emotional connection in multiple different ways, to helping us kind of get through the barriers that we may need to push through to be able to achieve this goal or develop this habit. So what if? So what if I didn't achieve it? Well, I'd be letting a mate down. I feel a bit hopeless, uncomfortable, and I feel unhealthy, which is really important to me, to make sure that I feel healthy. Awesome. So now we're kind of starting to build a bit of a reasoning. So we've got our full understanding of how it is and why it is that we're wanting to achieve these kind of goals. Now, the next kind of step kind of takes us back to the 7 acts of highly effective people. So the first thing we want to do now is kind of step this process out. So we have, I'll call it first things first. If you know the 7 acts of highly effective, or 7 habits of highly effective people, this is one of the 7 habits. The other one is to kind of start with the end in mind. So this is the end game over here. And then I like to kind of put a middle point, right? And what we'd then do is we'd kind of fill out the in-betweens as well. But the best thing to do is start with the end in mind. So we want to make sure at this point here, we've lost 5 kilograms of weight. Yeah. First things first is, so what's my first step? What do I got to do to achieve the 5 kilogram weight loss? Or what habits do I need to, so this would be regular activity, an appropriate diet. And this is where you'd really kind of flesh that out a little bit more. You would be as vague as I am now, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not carrying on. So the first thing first would be to set up a plan. To ensure levels of exercise, etc., etc., blah, 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 blah. And the middle point would be making sure I'm hitting step count of blah, blah, blah. Or let's just call it 10,000 and be super cliche. And exercising 4 times per week. Yeah. So now what this kind of means is I'm starting to kind of really kind of understand how it is that I'm going to make this happen. So we started with the ultimate goal. We've made it really specific and measurable so we can actually say, yes, we've achieved it, or no, we haven't. We've looked at making sure that we're connected to this in an emotional way, because that we know is what drives us more than anything. We've really played on those emotions, and we've looked at how it is that we feel and what if it doesn't happen. Then we've started to devise a little bit of a plan. Now, what we then do is obviously fill out the gaps of, the in-between first and middle point and end game. But the other thing that's really important is oftentimes we need help from other people to achieve our goals. So we can't just do it all ourselves. And it's really important for us to go back and, do our genius mode, which I know you guys have all kind of listened to the video that I've done on that, but know what we are good at and what we aren't good at. So I know for sure that I need some external help. I'm not going to stay motivated. I know that I'm going to have these days where I wake up in the morning, it's nice and cold, it's really dark outside. I'm really going to struggle to want to get there. So I need either a gym partner to keep me motivated through an external source, or a trainer. So now I'm going to make sure that one of my steps is actually in here to find a gym partner or a trainer. I'm just trying to basically build up the building blocks that are really kind of enabling me to succeed and preventing me from not succeeding. I'm looking at the barriers and I'm looking at the ways to overcome those barriers right from the word go. Now, this is the last point, and this point here is, I believe, the last one that is incredibly important and one that is oftentimes forgotten about, and this is to diarize the shit out of this point. So what we would then do is we'd then go and take each and every one of these steps, right, and would add them into physical time slots on our default diary or on our diary. So we're making the time commitment to everything in our list, which essentially means that the only thing we're left to do is to actually follow our own diary or our own checklist. And there's actually no way that we can't achieve the goal that we've looked to achieve in our ultimate goal. So really quickly, I've just got one more example here. My ultimate goal might be to help 10 more people achieve their goals. So the measurable and specific way is through ensure take down their goals and retest in 6 weeks and make sure that they've hit them. Emotionally is incredibly important to me, as I no longer see many clients. It is of greater importance to me that I am helping people. It is important to other people because it's important they know that I care and that I'm contributing to other people's progression, and that kind of helps me feel fulfilled. I feel wonderful and feel like I have a purpose. If I don't achieve this, I'll feel useless and that I am not serving a greater purpose other than myself. I'm not serving other people. First things first is to create a plan on how to reach these 10 people. So it might be a marketing plan or a strategy of how to come in contact with other people. Middle step would be to ensure that I've started this journey, and the end step would be making sure that I have tested and measured this after 6 weeks and they've actually achieved their goal. So the biggest thing, and the one that is right here, the big key that a lot of people forget, is that blocking out the time on your diary. Once it's in there, you have no time excuse. And that oftentimes is the biggest reason why people say that they don't achieve their goals.
So I hope that all makes sense, and it really makes a really clear path for you guys to follow to ensure that you're not only setting your goals, but you're actually achieving it. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's session, and until next time, my friends, enjoy yourself, stay safe, and have a lovely weekend. We'll talk soon. Bye.